All right, you know it by now. VP Mike Pence left the Colts game Sunday after 49ers players, 23 of them, took a knee during the national anthem, and the media went absolutely wild.
One of the most talked about plays during Sunday football was sent in by President Trump and executed by his vice president.
Vice President Pence sparking a firestorm. Was it a political stunt?
Vice President Mike Pence added more fuel to the fire.
How much did this cost the taxpayers?
This is the latest chapter in a divisive national debate, but it certainly escalates things.
Wow. All right. But no one called it a stunt when the vice president was heckled at the theater when he just wanted to see a play called Hamilton. And he was lectured by the cast last November. Where was the media backlash then? In fact, there was nothing but praise. Here to weigh in is former NFL player, entrepreneur, and author of Teamworks, Chris Valletta. Chris, first off, how do you feel about the vice president showing up and leaving?
Well, look, we can all make assumptions about what happened and what didn't happen. The reality is he was there. He stood proudly for the national anthem. Players protested and he left. The media drove a narrative in that regard that, to me, is just simply absurd. The reality is the media is focused on views and clicks. They're focused on being first more so than they are being right. And what we're not talking about are the real issues in this country right now, and that's an erosion of nationalism. We have players taking a knee during the national anthem for issues that are real, divisive issues that are real, they're valid. I actually agree with a lot of them. But to protest during the national anthem is to protest during the one thing that gives you the right to protest.
You can protest for the issues that you want, and then people can listen and decide, can I help? Is there something substantial there? But now they're saying, we're taking a knee during the national anthem, but don't take it as anti-American. Well, that's not up to you, because the American people will decide themselves whether it looks like they're dissing the country. And many are. The ratings are down, although the numbers are locked in now in terms of sponsorships and rights fees. They're going to make $15 billion as a league this year. The players get a large percentage of that revenue. Down the line, where's this heading? Here's what the president just tweeted out, in fact, an hour and 10 minutes ago. Why is the NFL getting massive tax breaks while at the same time disrespecting our anthem, flag, and country? Change the tax law. What is it like now at NFL headquarters when the president says that?
It's wildfire for sure at the NFL headquarters, there's no doubt. But what we should be talking about right now is the fact that 1.1 million American soldiers have sacrificed their lives in defense of the freedoms that we enjoy every single day. That freedom is celebrated by singing the national anthem, by standing proudly with your hand on your heart and proclaiming that we live in a free society, not one like North Korea that is focused on a dictatorship where they teach their children, don't even think of disdain towards the dictator because they can read your thoughts, where people are publicly executed for watching Hollywood movies. We don't live in that kind of country. We live in a free society bought and paid for by 1.1 million Americans.
Chris, you
and
know
we need to celebrate that proudly.
You know teamwork. So what is it like now in the Dallas Cowboy locker room when the owner comes out and says you'll stand or you won't play? Now they're being looked at around the league. Well, who's in charge? And number two, what's it like at the ESPN newsroom when they suspend somebody for 2 weeks for speaking out, and there's many people that are allied more with the worker than the owner?
You know, I would say from an NFL locker room standpoint, this is the worst kind of issue that can affect a team. Total distraction, and I would encourage you to listen to one of my idols, Lou Holtz, who was an amazing coach, head coach of Notre Dame, who talked about this very thing. It is to remove this kind of distraction from the locker room. If you're going to protest, do not do it on team time. Do it outside of the locker room and in an environment where you are away from everybody else, because it does nothing but distract you away from the purpose of what we're there to do, which is win a football game.
Right, and we saw both teams stand last night. We know every Saturday, it looks like, according to one NFC official, that there's Saturday morning conference calls between the league and player reps and player leaders, like the Leadership Council, and as well as the different team owners. What's the way forward? They let it get out of control. It was a mistake. What would you do tomorrow to end this now?
I would, as the commissioner of the NFL, I would actually put a mandate in place for all of the owners to mandate that every single player stand shoulder to shoulder with their hands on their heart during the national anthem. Protest whatever you want outside. The whole problem right now is that the rules are gray. They need to be black and white. If you have gray rules, you have issues like this, and no one has stepped up from a leadership standpoint to set a policy or a rule. This is a business. The NFL is a business. The owners are running a company that drives revenue. They're not. That's the bottom line. Someone needs to step up and take a leadership position, and that's not what's happening right now.
Well, there's a union, and keep in mind, November 11th begins a series of weekends saluting military, first responders, and law enforcement. What's going to happen there? How do they feel about the vision and the symbolism about them? Will they show up? Will they protest NFL players? Will the NFL players still take a seat with the military being saluted at their game? It's mind-boggling what's straight ahead.
Boy, I hope not. I just hope that we can sit back and remember that we live in an amazing country, an amazing free country, and that we are truly living in a time where we are eroding our nationalism. And we have to stand proudly, not only for our internal purposes, but to showcase to the global community that we live in a free and amazing country.
And you did point out
that continues.
And you did point out there are problems that need to be looked at and addressed. You just don't like the way they're doing it. Chris Valletta, thanks so much. You're the author of Teamworks. Appreciate your perspective.
Thanks, guys.